Today, did Larian revive a franchise and kill a console at the same time? This is CheckPoint. And now, a special report. PAX, the largest gaming convention in North America, happened last weekend, and we sent Beej down to get the scoop on all the latest gaming announcements. What have you got for us, Beej?
PAX was fine. The lines were kind of long, though. Oh, and I got this cool plushie.
And there you have it, money well spent. Once again, I find myself burdened by this age of information. There are so many things happening all the time, and I feel the need to care about all of them and then tell you all about it. Or at least say something glib, so you think I'm funny and that my opinion is in any way relevant to your life. Anyway, here's some quick points. First up, a test. Remember last week when I made fun of Nintendo's incredibly vague wording around Mario and Luigi, voice actor Charles Martinet's new role as a Mario ambassador? Well, it turns out not even Martinet knows what a Mario ambassador is. When asked about his cool new job at a GalaxyCon panel, Martinet very diplomatically said, "I'm not retired, as it were. I don't know how, but I'm an ambassador, and as we step forward into the future, we'll all learn what exactly that is." At this point, I have to assume that the gig has mostly been arranged to keep Martinet paid just enough that he isn't tempted to make Mario-esque noises in Hot Pocket commercials or on Cameo or on OnlyFans. To which I say Nintendo, as if they are listening, or to me, or care. And anyhow, Nintendo, my friends, making this ambassador job so weird and vague makes it seem a lot sketchier than it probably is. But if you're really doing this because you're afraid of Martinet getting Mario's freak on, you better be paying him well. And speaking of weird decisions in Nintendo properties, how many Pikmin augmented reality games would you say that the market can bear? My guess is 0, but Nintendo thinks it's 2 because they just launched Pikmin Finder, a mobile AR game where you wave your camera around your house and find Pikmin hiding in your tat. And then you get rewards of different virtual tat for finding Pikmin in the real tat. Cool! And in final, not so cool news, it turns out all the NPCs in Baldur's Gate aren't actually super horny all the time. They were just bugged at launch. According to game director Swen Vinke, the romance system approval thresholds were just set too low, and patches are now rolling out to tone down the companion horniness. There's no word yet on if this will affect the sex percent speedrun community, but our hearts go out to them in this difficult, unerotic time.
Video game piracy is good and correct. We should probably just call it premature archiving at this point. Piracy has negative connotations for being technically illegal, even though many video gaming companies demonstrably consider it necessary. It was discovered recently by modder Silent that the now delisted version of Midnight Club 2 that Rockstar Games was selling on Steam was a pirated, cracked version. They know this because the signature for cracking team Razor 1911 appears in the code for the Steam version. And they knew to look for it because Rockstar did the same thing with Manhunt and Max Payne 2, according to this video by Vadim M. How did people know to look for a premature archivist's signature in the code? Because Rockstar screwed up, and all their cute anti-piracy goofs that make the game impossible to play for pirates have been happening to regular paying Steam customers, hilariously requiring community-curated mods to make the game even playable again. Why did Rockstar even do this in the first place? There's a few possibilities. Perhaps they couldn't be bothered, or were literally not able to remove their own original DRM protections, meaning it was just simpler to download a cracked one and sell that. Or perhaps they just don't have the files in a usable state, as game publishers are notorious for doing. Remember that a big reason Square Enix have never released an upscaled remaster of Final Fantasy VII is that the 3D models used to make all of the game's pre-rendered backgrounds are just lost and probably gone forever. So, great job, archivists. Your reward is preserving gaming history, but also the companies who would otherwise sue you start taking your work and selling it in a way that also shows their whole ass, which is its own reward.
Do you feel an irrational need to catch 'em all? Well, you better have a pair of supportive shoes and some space available on your credit card, because the best way to do that is to play Pokemon Go! That's right, with the addition of Paldean Pokemon like Sprigatito and Bombardier, the mobile-only title now has 814 distinct Pokemon. That's over double the 400 currently available in the series' newest mainline games, Scarlet and Violet. In fact, Pokemon Go now has more Pokemon in it than the most complete mainline games ever had. That was 809 in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, which makes Pokemon Go mathematically the very best Pokemon game. Like no one ever was. I could do more lyrics, but you get the idea.
Baldur's Gate 3 has a lot to answer for, and not just all the horny nonsense Kathleen talked about earlier. Also that, obviously, but it might have started the downfall of the Xbox Series S, at least according to a delightfully juicy take from Polygon. And you know what? The math adds up. Here's the situation. Baldur's Gate 3 is very popular and riding a wave of tremendous support from the people who play video games community, enjoying a successful release on PC and following it up with its console debut on PlayStation. But not Xbox. Yet. Larian Studios doesn't have any kind of exclusivity deal preventing an Xbox release. They just haven't been able to do it yet. And it's kind of Xbox's fault. See, Microsoft has these two very easy to say out loud consoles, the Xbox Series X and its younger, less powerful sibling, the Xbox Series S. And while the Series X boasts more powerful visual fidelity for its higher price tag, Microsoft demands feature parity between it and the Series S. So the S can look a bit worse, but it still has to work the same. Microsoft also wants feature parity with PlayStation for obvious reasons. The challenge here, according to Larian's director of publishing back in July, is that the comparatively underpowered Series S couldn't handle Baldur's Gate 3's split-screen co-op feature, and until they cracked that, they couldn't release the Xbox version. Since then, BG3 has released and proven to be the kind of game any company wants to have on their hardware, which put Microsoft in a tricky spot, leading to Phil Spencer making an unorthodox call. Baldur's Gate 3 can launch on Series S without the co-op split-screen functionality. BG3's Xbox version is now expected before the end of the year. But what does this mean for the affordable, adorable little Series S? Well, as good for the industry as it is to have an entry-level cost Xbox, this can't be good because now publishers who already don't love having to make their games work on the lower-powered console know that if the situation is right, they can get concessions from Microsoft. In an interview at Gamescom, notably before this concession to BG3 had been announced, Phil Spencer even started shifting the goalposts a bit, saying, quote, "There are features that ship on X today that do not ship on S, even from our own games, like ray tracing." Which is not a gameplay feature, Phil. PlayStation games also have features the Series S doesn't, like a PlayStation logo on the controller. Anyway, shout out to Larian for accidentally starting the slow death of the Xbox Series S, maybe.
You know what else is a slippery slope? The backside of the gravel pit out behind Princess Auto.
Oh yeah, you could slide a Chesterfield down that.
Yeah, they gotta get to some grading before the B&L are gonna write a song about it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, they're gonna harmonize.
Oof.
Coming up, do you just love building Swedish flat pack furniture? Ever wanted to do it in space? Well, now you can with Kala X, a co-op multiplayer furniture building game. It doesn't have meatballs, but you can throw your teammates into space if they don't read the instructions correctly.
So I was thinking while you were doing the Charles Martinet story that your read on the situation, which I believe is correct, is exactly like a WWE Legends contract.
Oh.
Which is...
I don't know what that involves.
Exactly. So it's basically this wrestler is too old to do stuff in the ring, and we don't want them to do stuff in the ring. We don't want to put them on TV. We are not interested in using them in storylines.
Right.
But if we just say,
you're done.
You're done, and release them into the world. They are gonna go to some other company and potentially injure themselves, but ruin their brand, ruin our brand by association, just do a bunch of embarrassing nonsense to try and earn money, because of course they still need money.
Yeah.
Right?
Because it's not like you offer a pension plan to the employees you've systematically disabled over the years.
Well, they're not employees, they're contractors. So then when you get to a certain age, you get a WWE Legends contract, which means you're not on TV, you make some like fan appearances, but basically we are paying you to stay home and not work for the competition. And occasionally we'll bring you out for a Royal Rumble appearance or something like that.
Right.
Yeah. So I feel like that's the same.
Who's the kind of thing on a Legends contract right now?
I mean, before he passed away, Iron Sheik was on a Legends contract, right? It was just sort of like, look, just don't go to AEW.
Right.
Right? Don't like show up backstage and start, calling people jabronis on AEW television, or
Right.
like Hogan's on a Legends contract, Undertaker's on a Legends contract.
Right.
It's like, look, man, you're broken. We cannot put you in the ring. So like some of it is sort of like just, like we want to pay you so that you don't feel that you need to go and injure yourself by trying to actually work. But mostly it's like, we just don't. We get to keep selling your merch. We don't want to ruin. We don't want to ruin the brand. So we'll just pay you to just sort of chill out and we'll pay you to stay retired.
And to have an injured back.
Yeah. So in Charles Martinet's case, I think that your read on it basically like, we don't want to keep using him for Mario, or possibly he's not really able to do the voice as much. I think he said that. But we don't want you to like try and do this for other companies. And so I think it's basically the same thing. But they really should explain that.
Yeah, just be like, he's Charles is retired from the voice, but we love having him around. He's so enthusiastic. So you'll see him at fan appearances and stuff like that.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
They just say that.
Yeah.
He can't do the voice anymore, but he's still part of our family. Fuck. Just say that. God, I'm not even a PR person.
So I saw a very funny, totally unrelated, I saw a very funny tweet that the Ubisoft account was basically like, what's the last game that you 100% completed or something like that? And to which someone responded, what's the last game you 100% completed, Ubisoft? Which is very funny. And also, news story this morning. Paul, I have bad news. That the creative director of Skull and Bones has now moved to a different Ubisoft studio, and we have no new updates on.
And I believe this is the third creative director.
Yes, sorry. This game was originally supposed to come out in 2018, and it's been delayed 6 times. This is the game that was inspired by the ship-based piracy stuff in Assassin's Creed Black Flag.
It's been delayed so many times that the games that were probably launched to be, launched into planning to be its direct competitors have now come out, done okay, and then basically come to the end of their life cycle.
It's been so long that Ubisoft is working on a remake of Assassin's Creed Black Flag, the game that originally inspired Skull and Bones.
I'm going to laugh so hard if Skull and Bones eventually just becomes the Assassin's Creed 3 remake. Now with more sailing.
Ubisoft needs to stop announcing these things, because like they've been working on Skull and Bones for years.
Well,
they've been working on Beyond Good and Evil 2 for years. They just keep changing staff.
I think the last game that I think I got very close to it. I don't remember when the last game I 100% was, but I've never been the kind of person to 100% any game, because just F that. I think the last game that I got very close to, though, was Shin Megami Tensei 5. I was set up in a way that I definitely could have 100%ed it if I wanted to go back and sink like a bunch more hours. But I did a bunch of the optional bosses at the end, like all the extra hard ones, I think.
Right.
Maybe not all of them.
I mean, in the context of Ubisoft, that's particularly funny because, Ubisoft is known for making the like collect-a-thon type games, right? Where it's like, I've beaten all of the all the Assassin's Creed games.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten all 500 feathers in the game.
Yeah.
That allows you to get the slightly better armor, which you don't need because you've already beaten the game.
Yeah.
But so I guess I haven't 100%ed it.
I don't even think I think I 100%ed a Spyro game. I couldn't actually 100% the early Crash Bandicoot games because getting the platinum time trial trophy was just not something that interested me.
Yeah. It's just 100%ing is for 11-year-olds who have nothing better to do, I think.
I still didn't want to.
Yeah.
Or it's like, sure, you can 100% the game, but can you 200% the game?
Okay, actually, or I did get 204 whatever it is percent in Castlevania Symphony of the Night
Oh, right.
because that's map completion. I did do that.
All right.
That
All
game-
right.
that game
Castlevania
rules.
Symphony. Well,
Okay.
the popular answer. What was the last game that you 100%ed? Or do you want to tell us to go to hell because who's got time for that? Let us know in the comments below.
What's the last game that you were planning on 100%ing and then,
Got too busy for?
yeah.
Elden Ring.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just stalled out late game in Elden Ring. Yeah.
Leave your Elden Ring comments below.